What's up, everybody? Here we are coming at you for another Tuesday Tea Time. I know we started a little late, but it was cray. I feel like every time we get together during the week, I have like a story or an adventure of some epic proportion to share with you. And of course, today was another one of the days, but whatevs, we're moving forward and it's great. If I look a little disheveled more than usual, it's because I'm out of town today. So I am doing a workcation where I've left the world into a destination to do work. But I'm somewhere else. So you can tell my background. I want to give a quick shout out to my guy Pono for hooking up the production, putting us back together. My man was working hard and we got it up off the ground. So I know we're late, but I hope you've tuned in or you're tuning in. And if you're tuning in, today is my day with Senor Pastor Damien Chandler, the one, the only, the master blaster himself. He's going to be talking to us about how to stand out in such a bland world. What are some things that you can do as a faith community, you can do as a young adult, you can do with your family that will help you stand out? You know, the word says that we've got to be flavor. We were created to be salt in this world. And so what are some things that you could start thinking about, dreaming, or innovating to make that happen? Have you been thinking about it? Have you been worried about not being able to kick it up to the next level? Well, today's your day. We've got a guy who's doing that. My man has written books. He's a phenomenal leader. He's a visional administrator. He is a speaker. And in fact, they're doing some great stuff at the church that we're going to talk about today. We're also going to get across some injustice and mental health. It's going to be an amazing day. So don't miss out. Before we get to my guy, Dame, I want to let you know, next week, we're going to be hanging out with the Pacific Union Conference president, Dr. Ricardo Graham. He's going to come on here. I might be able to get him to do some rap. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going to see what I can get out of him. But you don't want to miss out. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have a good time. That's next week. I do want to remind you one last thing. May 16th to 23, we are doing a week of prayer for young adults, for families, for youth. It's called Thrive. We're going to be focusing on mental health. Dr. Myron Edmonds is our speaker. We've got the LA County Department of Mental Health coming alongside us, and they're going to be helping us with the workshops and presenters. You're not going to want to miss out. It's going to be awesome. You got to save the date. You got to put it down. There's an events page. Make sure you jump onto the events page. We'll drop into the description so that you can find your way there. Lock in with us. That's May 16th to 22. Then the 23rd is a training. It's a summit leadership training for anybody who wants to be trained in mental health. And guess what? Ask me how much it is. Ask me. It's free. Right. It's free. Free wins every time. So mark it in, get it done. But today we're hanging out with Dane. Yo, what's up, Damien Chandler, pastor, master, scholar? How you doing?
My brother, how are you, man? It's nice to see you. It's nice. Some stuff has been happening since I saw you last. You getting a little bit bushy there, my brother?
What? You know, you didn't have to mention it, bro. This is my show.
I'm
Why you gotta
just
call me
saying.
out like that?
No, bushy is good. Listen, I've been growing this little something for the last 5 years, and it doesn't get any longer. So you are blessed, brother. You're blessed.
I feel like I'm Esau to your Jacob, man. You know, my daughter said to me, like 6 months ago. She's like, Dad, I want you to go ahead, because she saw my license when I was younger and I had this big afro.
Yeah.
She's like, Dad, I want that. And I was like, honey, Daddy's hair doesn't grow like that anymore. It's like a half afro. It's like, you know, the whole front's missing. And she's like, no, but I want it. So, you know, Daddy's girl wins. I've been growing this thing, this mane of mine, if you will.
Well, brother, my kids are not as wise as your daughter, and they said, Dad, we know you can't. So we'll just look at your wedding photo.
Nice, man. Nice. How old are your kids, Dame?
Man, I got 3. I got a 9-year-old, a 12-year-old,
Yes.
and a 15-year-old, man. So
Wow.
we're rocking with 3.
You're right across that spectrum. We thought about 3. We prayed about 3. But the executive officer on my team said Well, yeah,
No,
I don't
man.
know. I don't know.
No, man. Let
We
me let me
trying.
stretch some holy hands your way
Come
and
on,
pray
man.
over
Come
this
on,
thing.
man.
Come on, dear Lord, you can do it
Oh,
in Jesus' name.
hey, hey. D, what are you drinking today, man?
Oh, bro. The best. If you haven't tried it before, you got to try it now. It's a lemon
Mm,
ginger tea by Stash, and man, they got a little
Stash.
bit of the spicy stuff in there, and you get up in the morning, makes you feel nice and warm on the inside, and then you take
Mm.
that bucket of sugar and you keep pouring until the sugar bowl is empty, and you'll do well, man. It's fantastic.
I
Hmm.
love the way you just described out your recipe, man. That's brilliant.
Amen.
Now be real with me. Do you actually drink tea on a regular, or
Yeah.
is this something you just did for today?
Well, I grew up in the Caribbean. And so in the Caribbean,
Yeah.
when you wake up in the morning, they will tell you that there's certain things that will make you sick. Playing in the rain
Mm.
will make you sick.
Mm-hmm.
And not drinking something hot before you leave the house will make you sick. So at least
Ah.
2, 3 times a week, I jump on to a cup of tea. Sometimes I do it at night as well. It's either peppermint or that. But then there's this tea called Robo Roybo tea out of Africa. I try
Mm-hmm.
that. Earl Grey. I like some of that.
Yeah.
And then the English, if you go English Tetley tea or Red Rose, something like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Ooh.
tea thing is it's like it's built in.
You're definitely a tea connoisseur, man. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh man.
So in the South Pacific, we drink a lot of tea too. That's because of British influence. So we
Yeah.
like our tea with like cream and sugar. Is it the same for you?
Yeah, yeah. I grew up in Barbados, so same British influence, same Commonwealth,
Those
and
punks.
the queen is going to make you drink her tea. So
Yeah,
that's what
true,
we've been
true.
doing. That's what we've
Hmm.
been doing.
Well,
Then we
man, I
come
don't
to the
want to
States,
burn
we
our
get
time with tea, yo.
fancy and on coffee.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. That's right, man. Speaking of which, I need a little bit today, people. Don't judge me. So I don't want to burn our time on tea. Let's get to talking because I do want to get around to your church is doing some phenomenal stuff, and obviously, churches do great things when leadership has great vision. So I want to give God credit for what He's doing at your local community through you, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But before we get there, where are you pastoring right now?
Yeah, so I am in the most amazing city in the world, Sacramento,
LA. Oh,
California,
Sacramento.
the
Right.
capital. We are up at the Capitol in Sacramento, Northern California. So we've been here now for 70 years, and we don't have or see any reason to leave. So we enjoy it. We like it
Mm.
up here.
I'm not gonna lie. My brother and my sister and her husband, when they moved up north, religiously was committed to being in your community. They loved your pastoring. They loved the church feel. They felt like it was a space for them. So yeah, I mean, and that's high
Mm,
praise because they're particular. They want really good worship and they want a church
yeah,
that's community oriented as well. So
yeah. We
good
miss
job,
them.
man.
We miss them. I just saw a picture of them the other day, and I just miss being around them. Just really, really good people. And I think that that's one of the things about the Sacramento area. It seems to be a stopping spot. Not always for
Mm.
people to stay, but people seem to come through that are just really, really good people. And oftentimes they move to another area, but they deposit something with us, and we pray that we're also able to deposit something with them.
Well, I'm sick. Since they came down, I've been sick of hearing your name, man. I'm a pastor too, guys. I pastored y'all for like 12 years. He had you for like 2 nights, 3 weeks. How dare you throw that in my
Ah,
face?
oh,
No,
my brother,
no,
listen.
they love. I
The
love you,
name, the
man.
name, Pastor Icky. You know that you are like you got something going on when no one has to call your last name. I don't even know what your last name is. I can't pronounce it, but they just call your first. It's like Kobe. You don't have to say anything else. Shaq. You don't have to say anything else. Zion. You don't have to say it. Everybody knows who you're talking about. Pastor Icky.
Oh,
Who
stop.
does not know Pastor Icky? Okay? You don't even
Listen.
need a last name.
We're gonna go here. I'm about to stretch it out because I shared a story with you before we got started. I went to speak at a place, and afterwards, man, they were so impressed. They came up and said, "Man, that was great." They said, "So when are we gonna get that book from you?" And I was like, "Book? What book is he talking about?" And he just kept talking to me. So I asked somebody else, and they were like, "Oh yeah, there was another preacher who came here, Pastor Damien." I was like, Like, I mean, I know I don't look like you, but I was like, I will take that compliment any day. Thank you very much. My next book should be on the shelf already. Look for it.
Oh, my friend, they downgraded you to where I am.
Oh,
But
bro,
seriously though, over the course of years, you come across a number of pastors, and oftentimes, Icky, the truth is, we haven't crossed paths physically that many times.
No.
We've known people who've known people, but when you hear about another pastor in another field, in another area, that's doing great work, that has a heart for Christ and a heart for people, I don't know if it's a rare breed or not, but that name sticks. That especially when you have just there are things about God that are very similar, about what we love about God that are very similar.
Yeah.
And so for all these years, man, I think that we've met physically twice. But I've always known that it was a kindred spirit. And that one time when we were wherever we were, San Diego or something like that, I mean, we started talking, just couldn't stop. I met your family. It was like my family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the text says, can two walk together unless they agree? And the answer to that is no. But the opposite to that text is, when two people do agree, it's so easy to walk together. So it's a blessing.
Amen. Yeah, man, I do thank you for that. I knew that I was going to really appreciate you as a person, because everyone who knew you loved you. And that says a lot about a person. It's different when you hear, and obviously you're a phenomenal preacher, man. I've really enjoyed when you get on the platform, because you do this thing, you preach and you sing. Like, not everybody can do that. I preach and I sing, but it's not the same, It's like, stop, preacher, stop. We're done. But moving on. But something about when someone says, "Man, I really love that person," man, that pastor, I loved, as a person, not just admired them on a pulpit, not just, had that ambience about them, but really as a human being. So I knew we were going to strike it off, man. And I'm really glad you actually said yes to me today, because I know it was short notice and with everything going wild, man. But you've got such a phenomenal thing that you're going on up there. And can we talk about it some?
Sure.
Okay. So bring us there, man.
I want to start talking about the church, man. I think that a lot of us spend a lot of time looking for that church, and I spent a lot of my ministry, you have these churches that are on pedestals, and you're like, man, the ultimate ministry is to be there. And the there just means that the music is right, the building is big, there's a lot of people in pew. Well, that hasn't been my story. God brought me to Sacramento. And oftentimes, Icky, God takes me to places that other people don't really know about, or, are not pining over. I was in Seattle for a long time, did between 8 and 10 years of ministry up there. Nobody was thinking about Seattle. I was at Madison, and I loved Madison, such a great place. But at that time when we were at Madison, Madison wasn't what it had been. And then, everybody wanted to be at First Church with Pastor Snell, phenomenal, or with Pastor Bird. But I was happy to be there. And I've just learned how to love where God placed me, not pining over where I want to be, but grateful for where I am. you know. And
Oh, can we just
I
stop there for a quick second?
oh
I mean,
man,
we just need to emphasize this. Listen, if you happen to be a pastor or a young and up and coming religious student, religious studies student, theology student, that this is a key here. This is a beautiful thing. Damien is teaching right now, and I hope you catch it. Like learning to be in love with where God puts you and doing your thing
mm-hmm.
there.
Yeah,
That's such a word, man. I wish more people would hear that.
yeah.
Everybody's
You
trying to
know,
get
it's
to that church, to the next
say
church,
that
to
again.
that congregation. Everybody's
Yes,
always trying to get to that next church or that
yes,
place, that destination spot.
yeah. Yeah, and I think because of that, you miss the blessings of where you are. And then as a
Mm,
result, a lot of us live our lives in retrospect. So there's this book. The book is Under the Unpredictable Plant by Eugene Peterson. And he
mhm,
shares the idea. He's writing about a pastor, but putting it in the life of Jonah. And he says, everybody has a Tarsus, that oasis place that you want to be. And even if you're watching right now, you're not a pastor. I'm speaking to anyone who's listening because everyone has a Tarsus, not just pastors. People, you have a Tarsus for the job that you want to have, or the husband you want to have, or the family you want to have, and all that. And what he says about Tarsus is that it's interesting that Jonah had never been there. So all he knew about Tarsus is what people had shared. He had never seen it for himself, and if he had, he would have realized that Tarsus was probably not as great as he painted it in his mind to be, right? And while we are reaching for Tarsus, we're ignoring the Nineveh that we are being sent to, you know.
Ooh.
But Nineveh is my field. That's where I'm sent to, and this is where I'm called to. And if I take my mind, if I stop glorifying how beautiful Tarsus is and how wonderful the people are, I realize that Tarsus a lot of times is not much different, Icky, than Nineveh. What's different
Come on now.
between the two? The only difference is that God sent me to one, and the other one I'm coveting. So I think
Mm,
that God has helped me to love where I am, to appreciate where I am. And I'm still growing in that, and allowing, because the second phase is, okay, I am where I am. I'm happy to be here.
mhm,
But now how do I allow my people to be who they are versus trying to change my sheep? My sheep have spots. And those spots are specific to them. And I need
mm,
to love my sheep and love their spots, because everybody's
mm.
sheep has spots. There's no such thing as pure wool, right? So,
Come on now.
I gotta love where I am and love who I'm with, and appreciate that rather than living my life in retrospect.
Wow, somebody in a relationship right now needed to hear that. So somebody in
Mhm.
that job needed to hear that right there. I hope you are
Absolutely.
watching along today. Know that while your eyes are on Tarsus, you are missing out on your Nineveh. Whew, come on,
Mhm,
man.
mhm, mhm. And isn't it true in marriage?
Mm,
Yeah, I chased after my wife hard, man. It took
mm.
took a long time. It was 2 years, 2.5 years of chasing, 5 years of dating, and then you get married, and then the chase is gone. Like the lion
Mhm.
chasing the gazelle, you catch it and it's gone. And you go through in your mind, it's like, oh, well, maybe. But the truth is that there's no better gazelles out there than the one I have.
Come
she's
on,
she's the
man.
one she's the one for me. And whatever problems we have in marriage, if I were married to somebody else, there would be other problems. So I choose the problems I have. I choose the woman I have, and she chooses me. So once you make
Ooh.
that decision, to choose to love what you have, then the love for what you have starts to become a little bit more natural. You know what I mean? Because you realize
Man, that's
it's
true.
it's not it's not better anywhere else. I don't know if that makes
Mm.
sense.
It makes absolute sense. This is the problem that we face in living in our world today. Living in a world that is fraught with fairy tale movies,
Hmm.
these love movies, pornography. It restructures what intimacy might look like for sex,
Yeah,
because sex sells. And
yeah,
so we have these, and it's not just about sex, but the idea that if you find the right person, all of a sudden you're going to be happy, right? Like, oh, I got no problems no more. That's a
yeah.
lie.
Nah,
My
from
single
the
people out
pit
there.
of Hades. It is. And the crazy thing is, a lot of times it takes you to the end of your life to realize I've been praying for another church I've had 5 churches now, and each church that I've had, it's always ended up the same way. The only thing that's similar about all these churches is me. So maybe the problem is not the church. Maybe the problem is me. Well, I came here to Sacramento, and I felt that, I got that, and now I'm loving where I am. I don't want to be anywhere else, and we get calls, as I'm sure you do, all the time, but I can confidently say no, because I kind of like where I am.
Man, that's
I
beautiful.
love the
Now,
people that I'm
did you
with. I love the church I'm
did you
with.
always feel called to ministry? Was that a thing? Did you always hear that in your heart, or was there a turning point for you where it was like, man, God, I hear
No,
you?
no. My journey is too long for this
Mm.
broadcast. I actually I used to play soccer for my country many years ago,
Wow.
and that was my thing. That's what I was gonna do. And then I was injured in a tournament, and after that, I spent some time thinking, and I was an Adventist. So I
Mm.
was up until I was 18 or 19. I was attending an Adventist church kind of casually, but I hadn't been baptized. And after the injury, I had some time to think. And I was baptized in April, and I was off to Oakwood in September. And that was it. But ministry for most of my life was far away from my thoughts. But something, I do believe in the supernatural, and I do believe, so I don't know if everybody on, I do believe that sometimes there's a prophetic call on your life. And my
Hmm.
grandfather is a light-skinned man, and all of his kids were dark, really, really dark, like my grandmother. And he said to God, God, if you would give me a son that looks for like me, I would give him to you for ministry. So he was an Adventist. But my grandfather used to travel around the island where I grew up in Barbados, and he would pastor churches, and he would pull my
Wow.
father with him because my father was the only child that he had that was light skinned like he was. All his other kids were dark. But my father said that ministry never fit him, but he knew the promise that my grandfather had made. And then I was
Mm.
born. And I was born really to take over my father's business. That's what he wanted. And when I said I wanted to go into ministry, he was upset. I'm his firstborn
Mm.
son. I'm supposed to take the reins, until he remembered the promise that my grandfather made. And he realized that the fulfillment of the promise skipped a generation,
Ah.
because ministry never fit him, but it fit me well. And so that there's so much more that led me to where I am. But I
Wow.
believe it was that prophetic promise by my grandfather that actually landed me where I am right now.
Wow, wow, wow. And the spirit is still leading, man. It's very obvious. So you guys are doing something in your community that is really allowing you to stick out or stand out. We
Sure.
live in a very, like, our title has been standing out in a bland world, in our bland
Mhm.
world. Um, Tell us how the spirit is leading you in your local community right now, bro. What are you doing? What
Sure.
innovative things are you doing?
Sure. Well, I'm going to start on some stuff that probably is maybe not as innovative. We've decided as a church that we always want to be in the community. We always want to be
Mm.
involved. And so during COVID, our councilman approached us and said, "Hey, the homeless population doesn't have any place to stay. Would you partner with us in opening up your church to be a warming center, a warming respite during the winter?" And we were really, really excited, man. And so they took over our fellowship hall and had 35 cots there, and then our parking lot was a safe space for homeless families who were living in their cars. We were able to provide meals and a place for their goods, for them to store their goods and that kind of stuff. And in talking to the councilman, he was like, "Man, I didn't expect you guys to answer so quickly." And I was able to say to him, I was like, "Man, this is what we do. This is
Right,
who we
right,
are."
right.
Because as a community, as a church community, Capital City, um, to a member, every member of the board believes that we exist to support, to love, to help our community. So when we bring that kind of stuff to our board, there's barely any questions and there's no negative votes. We get unanimous votes every single time, anytime it has anything to do with serving our community. And as a result of that, we're grateful that our community comes to us, and the community knows that we exist to serve them. So that was on the mission side. And we got this crazy idea. We got some evangelism money like we get every year during COVID and during the stay-at-home pandemic period. And we were trying to think about, how could we really minister to our community? How could we take the gospel in a new way? And we got the thought, what about producing a movie? I mean, you could sit and listen to me preach if you want. I don't want to listen to me for 7 nights or whatever we do. So what about producing a movie? Everybody's, exhausting Netflix and Amazon Prime and everything else. What about putting the gospel in a format that they're already consuming? And so we got with a really creative group, Adventist group out of Chicago. A lot of people on the West Coast don't know about them. They're called Connect online. You can check them out on Facebook. Icky, nice. They've been producing a short film for their congregation every single month, one every single month. And they've been phenomenal, like crazy.
Wow.
They are so they produce a music video for the music and like the narrative, and it's just the fly. It's just amazing. So when I saw it, I reached out to them and asked them if they would produce a short film for us. And this short film called Hero came to be. And so, man, I could talk about that thing all day. Yeah, it's been great.
Well, let's do this. Before we talk any more about it, I actually want to show a clip of this. If you are with us or if you're catching this afterwards, drop a comment in any ways. We'd love to hear from you. This is Damien Chandler, pastor, speaker, author, community connector, just a phenomenal. And now actually, so what's your role in the part of the movie, Damien? You helped?
Well, we our church, Capital City, along with Stockton Mayfair Church, our sister church, are considered the executive producers. And then for the first time, they decided to put myself and my brother, Pastor Rudy Peters, on screen. So I don't know who decided to do that, but it's fun. It was fun.
That is awesome. Hey, so Pono, if you get a chance, can we throw up this promo here and let's just check it out together? I love this intro.
As a father, when you hold them in your arms for the first time, you come to understand your purpose more clearly. I have been prepared to die for Laura the second I held her in my arms. I am her father. She's my all, and I'll give her my all.
Yo, for real though. That was very clean. Now the narrator, when he came on, that voice is very familiar. Whose voice is that? Is that anyone in particular that we might know?
Oh, it's Pastor Rudy Peters, my partner in crime from Stockton Mayfair Church. And
shout out to Stockton Mayfair.
Hey man, that's a brave, bold church. And both of our churches, we don't have these massive congregations.
Don't
These
need
are
'em.
mid-sized to small
Yeah.
churches that just have massive faith, bold faith, and will allow their pastors to try things and fail, or
Yes.
it'll work or it won't. But if it doesn't work, it doesn't stop us from being bold for whatever is next. It just makes us wiser. But one of the things that was cool about it, Icky, was when they came, like, they put the whole thing together. Like we had an idea to do it. We partnered with them. They put it together. They wrote the script, but we knew nothing about movies. They did. And they just took it to another level. So we actually had professional actors that tried out for their parts. And the principal actor, her name is Naomi Purcell. And Naomi has been in Ant-Man. She's been in Bumblebee. She was in 13 on a Netflix series. Like, she was and all smaller roles, but we were able to we brought in 4 professional actors to be a part of the process. So actually learning from them, this is what I learned, man. I don't want to be no actor. That thing is work. work. It's crazy work. So, but I appreciate the craft of acting and also the craft of creating a movie. Like, I really didn't know anything about it. But they've done a phenomenal job. So last week, we gave people a sneak peek, and there's a lot of people who are angry because we came through with the music, we came through with the prayer, then we came through with 7 minutes of the movie and then shut it down. So come back next week. So this Saturday night at 6:00, 6:00 on the West, we'll be showing. It's not a movie. I keep getting reminded. It's a short film. We'll be showing this short film, Hero, in its entirety at 6:00 here on the West. So make a date of it. Ooh. Get your popcorn.
Dame, if anybody wants to watch along, is there a way that they could tune in or check it out?
Yeah. You could hit up Hero actually has a Facebook page and YouTube. Awesome. Or you can go to Capital City SDA or Stockton Mayfair here in Sacramento, and you'll be able to check it out there, and you'll be able to watch it again. But we appreciate your support. We appreciate the love, and also just supporting creativity. And I think that's where my heart is. We have Icky, people in our church that have these creative ideas and creative thoughts, and there's oftentimes not a space for them. There's no investment in creativity. There's not the willingness, right, to go through all the trials that you have to go through before you create an Apple or before you create a Microsoft. The church is not willing to invest in the failures before we get victories. What the church normally does is shows up when you have victories and then slaps the label on you and says, we're glad that you're ours, right? Ooh, but we need people to be present in failures. So to all the creative people who are out there, don't allow your failures or even your fear of failure to stop you from trying big, crazy things. So, Icky, I'm about to preach a little bit. David did not know that rock was going to work, but he tried it. Peter didn't know that walking on water would work, but he tried it. Noah didn't know whether or not the thing would float, but he tried it. Like if you want to do big things for the Lord, you got to step out even before you know whether or not what you're doing is going to work. And if God is on it, eventually it will.
Ooh, come on, man. Come on. Yes. Oh, so good, bro. So good. So let me ask you another question about the short film. That is phenomenal. You want to catch it, you can go on to Capital City, their website. It's Hero, also has a Facebook page. Yes. But who put the script together for this? Okay.
The group from Chicago, Connect, were the writers of the script, and they came with the storyline. We actually wanted to release it around Easter, but again, we live, we learn. We realize that it takes a long time to edit a film, and so they came to California like 5 times shooting the film, and in order to make it work. But it was supposed to be released for Easter. We had the release of the teaser last week, and then the full film is released this week.
Man, that's so awesome. That's so awesome. I love it because it is so thoughtful using innovation. We have to do this. Like, and I've seen people put out production, but it's like always like half and half. You know what I mean? Like half great idea,
Yeah.
half why did y'all do this? This was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we often fall short of reaching our potential because of the fear factor. You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that part of it is fear, and then I think that the other part of it is just sometimes know-how, and that's where So this is a book that I wrote. I don't know how many years ago. This is Crooked Christmas Tree. Wrote it a long
Yes,
time
the
ago.
Crooked Christmas Tree.
Yeah, and somehow another story that's too long for this space. I ended up at Faith Words, and Faith Words is the third largest publisher of Christian literature in the entire world. And working with their team and learning about what book writing was about, learning from experts. It's the same group that put out The Shack, same group, Joyce Meyer's stuff, TD Jakes stuff. And the crazy thing is, once you interact with people who are masters at what they do, and they're great at what they do, some of that greatness comes to you, and you start to realize that in order to do what it is you feel called to do, if you want to do it well, you have to be partnered with people who also do it well. You have to be willing to learn from people who do great work. And one of the challenges I have for creatives is that we don't spend enough time as apprentices learning from people who do great work. I mean, what I learned in that time, and what I learned from these young Adventist movie producers completely changed what I know about movies and completely changed what I know about book writing. And so if you're out there and you're creative, I want you to reach for excellence. And excellence for everybody is going to be relative. Your excellence is not mine. Mine is not yours. But don't stop short of reaching for something that's great and grand and excellent and beautiful and wonderful, because the world needs it. They need to be able to see Jesus and the gospel delivered in beautiful, wonderful ways. I want to see some artists come forward and paint some images of Jesus that are just awe-inspiring, and some songwriters write your songs, produce your songs, spend time with other songwriters, movie producers. Come on, it's your time. Let's go. Let's get it done. Book writers. I'm not just talking about pastors who turn a sermon into no. You're an author, a legit author. Let's go. Let's get it done, and let's do it well. And I think that if we do that, then the gospel will go to every nation, and people will be able to hear Jesus.
I'm so inspired right now. I've changed my membership already in the time that we've been talking up to Capital City. And I'll be sending you my tithe starting next week. Man, listen, we've already run out of time, my friends. We actually got to cut short today, which means we cut short on you on both ends. But if you catch this on the replay, drop some comments. If you're looking for Hero, check it out on the Facebook page. They've got a Facebook. They're kicking it off this weekend, the short film. So make sure you dive in there. Damien Chandler also has 2 books, The Crooked Tree and I Am John. Check them out. They're both on Amazon. They're both on Amazon, right?
I know Crooked Christmas Tree is. I Am John. You can hunt for it. This one is a book that we wrote for teens. So I think anyone will love it. Anyone will enjoy it.
You know what? We're having some baptisms actually in May 14th. We did a conference-wide, every single academy from K through 12 week of prayer this spring. Wow. And yeah, I know, right? Wild. We wouldn't have thought of this if there was no pandemic. God does some crazy things. And then we did a calling at the end. This was all video. This is all video stuff. And we had about 44 brave souls who said, you know what? I want to follow Jesus. So we're going to have a baptism for them in a couple weeks. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to purchase some books from you because I'd love to give that as a gift to them. Do you think that would be a good gift for them?
Absolutely. In fact, the book, I'll tell you what the book is about. It's a modern retelling of the story of Jonathan, a kid that sees his replacement show up in the basketball gym, and it's about high school basketball. And it's about this kid who was born to be the point guard, the son of the coach. And then this rugged kid called D walks into the gym one day and takes his spot. And it talks about a young person who's so confident in who he is that he's not afraid to allow D to be who he was created to be. So I think it's funny. I think it's engaging. And I really wrote it for my kids because one day we were looking for something Christian to write, something Christian to read, and they couldn't find anything. And I said, man, I'm an author. I'll write something. And every single chapter, when I was finished a chapter, I didn't move on until they said, yeah, that's it. I like that. So I think that teens will enjoy it and fall in love with being who they are. Your unique self is your most beautiful self. Yeah.
My friends, by the way, if you're watching, your unique self is your best self. So be that. We're going to close out because Dave's got to hit the road, man. He's got to put his son in the car and they got to drive off somewhere where it doesn't matter, y'all. He's got to go. Dave, before we close out today, you gotta sing a little something, man. Come on. You got something.
Dude, really? Like, you don't put me on the spot like that.
Everybody. I know. I've been calling people out just to call them out.
Oh man,
what
Dave. Song is on the heart?
I know you got something on you.
Jeez, this guy, man.
You
can ask for a million other things. You said, you got to sing something. So there's an old song. It's not a really trendy song, but I've been singing it a lot lately. It says, Jehovah Jireh, my provider, you are more than enough for me. Jehovah Rapha, you're my healer. By your stripes, I've been set free. Jehovah Shammah, you are with me to supply all my needs. You are more than enough, so much more than enough. You are more than enough for me.
It's a wrap, y'all. Dang,
oh man,
I love you, man. I love you, man.
Much love back to you, brother.
Yeah, man. My friends, thank you for joining us. If you did jump in towards the end, or if you're jumping in on our recording, I am with Pastor Damien Chandler, pastor, speaker, singer, just a phenomenal guy. Thank you, Dame, for your time today. I really appreciate it. All of you guys out there. Next week, we're going to be hanging out with Ricardo Graham, the president of the Pacific Union Conference, and maybe I'll make him rap. We'll see. I see what kind of lyrics homeboys got down inside. But until then, stay safe, be good. May the Lord bless you and be your unique self, because that is your best self. From my guy, Pastor Damien Chandler from Capital City. Thank you, Dame.